All right. Well, now we are going to take a look at the girls' basketball season coming up for 2009-2010. And there's a lot of promise in this season, but we'll start right with New Bedford, who seems to be poised for another good season.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement in the city about the girls' basketball team at New Bedford High. Last year they went 16-6 during the season, and they had a little bit of a disappointing end to their season. They lost in the quarterfinals of the Division I South sectionals. So I know this year's team is going to be determined not to let that happen again. The big key for them, I mean, they have the offense, they have the defense. The key is the rebounding. You know, if they can out-rebound their opponents offensively and defensively, I think that's going to be the key to success for them. They're a good fast break team. They also can, slow it down and score from a half court set. Big player to kind of watch out for is Ariel Gomez. She's a junior forward. She's going to be a key to their fast break offense. She's a good scorer inside, and she has decent size. She's 5'10". Another person to kind of watch out for New Bedford is Tori Manny. She's a junior. She actually returned to the team after not playing last year. I don't know exactly the situation. I know, Ed talked to the coach for the previews of why she didn't play. I'm not familiar, but I know, that's going to be a big boost for them. But they have some talented athletes. They do have a tough schedule playing in the Big Three.
Sure, yeah.
But I really see them having a repeat of last season, maybe even better. Hopefully in the tournament they go a little bit further.
Well, they're certainly hoping to go further, and it is a talented group. These are names that when you read them in the newspaper, read the results, or when we take the calls, it's a team where every night it could be somebody else coming up big for that team. So look for a lot of shared scoring with the Whalers this year. What about around the South Coast Conference?
South Coast Conference, it should be kind of interesting this year. There was a lot of the teams last year, had some success, either, right around 500 or a little bit above the local teams. The interesting story, I guess, would be Apponequet this year. Last year they were 13-7 overall. They return junior Gianna Youngblood. She's a dangerous scorer, great rebounder. I mean, she had a lot of a lot to do with their success last year, and it should repeat again this year. The big issue for Apponequet is that they actually lost Kelsey Johnson, who is a South Coast Conference All-Star point guard. She transferred to Old Rochester in the off season. So filling the void, of your, senior point guard, the person that kind of directs your offense is going to be a challenge.
That is tough, especially when it's somebody who's been running the show for a number of years, and it's not, there isn't somebody else that was kind of sharing those duties, and she was a big time scorer for them too. So those points will be missed.
Yeah, well, I mean, she can shoot the ball. Just to kind of go over about Old Rochester, I mean, getting the addition of her is unbelievable. She can shoot the ball. She's quick on defense. I mean, she's got the composure to run an offense. She has the experience. So, I mean, it's going to give a huge boost to Old Rochester, which, last year finished 12-11, overall. And also she'll be a nice complement in the backcourt with senior Michelle Franklin. She was the point guard last year, Franklin, but she's going to move over to shooting guard now that they have Kelsey, so that kind of frees her up.
I think that'll be huge for Michelle's game, because having to run the show and worry about scoring, I mean, she had to do it all, and I think if she can just focus on putting the ball in the hoop, then I think she's going to have a monster year.
Yeah. Another team really to kind of watch out for is Wareham. Last year they finished above 500, 8-12, but they have a talented player back in sophomore guard Lexi Sylvia. She can take the ball to the basket just as good as anybody else in the conference. She has a nice shot, and she's one of four out of the 5 returning starters that they had from a year ago. So they have that experience back. So I mean, I would see Wareham, doing fairly well this year.
Well, I know last year they started off. They had a pretty good outlook coming in to see, but they hit a slide.
Yeah.
And if they can just avoid hitting that wall like they did last year, they could be a very dangerous team.
Yep. Another team that'll be interesting to see how they do is Fairhaven. They have Kelsey Paransovic. She's going to actually move from point to shooting guard this year in her sophomore season. So it'll be interesting to see how she does. From the shooting guard position. And another player that they have really to watch out for is sophomore Kara. Is it Charette? Is that how you say it? Yeah. She just has such a strong presence inside. She's 6'1". If anybody saw her on the volleyball team, I mean, she knows how. She's an athlete and she knows how to play. The sports that she competes in, and she should be strong. So just having those two girls with some other solid players, they should be a solid team in the South Coast Conference.
Having Kaylee Moniz move to point guard, too. I mean, I don't know much about her as a basketball player, but having seen her play volleyball, she's very intense, very focused. So I think she's going to be somebody that's going to really set the tone for that team and will make a big difference. Now, what about Voc Tech? Because they have an interesting situation.
Yep. Well, Rick Avila, he's been the coach. I don't know how many years prior, but he was named the baseball coach last year. So he wasn't sure if he was going to give up coaching girls basketball, but he decided that it was just too much to do both. So he's no longer the coach, and their new coach is Dave Harrison, which I think you said you knew a little bit about his background coming in.
Sure, yeah. He's been the football coach at Old Colony and at Wareham. He won the Super Bowl with Wareham in '95 with that team that was led by Stephen Cooper. Who Brandon McGowan still doesn't believe me that he was the quarterback of that team, but he was. And so, I mean, Dave also has a background in basketball, too, and he's somebody who gets things done as a coach.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a good fit with a team that actually has a lot of talent that just might have had trouble getting everything on the same page last year.
Yeah. I mean, one of the talented young players that they have is sophomore forward Stephanie Antoine. She had a strong freshman year last year. She actually got a lot of playing time. She can score in the paint. She's a pretty good presence down low. I mean, she'll probably be one of those kids that you keep seeing her name in the paper over and over again. But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, a lot of times when you get a new coach, it takes time for the program to adjust and the players to kind of get on the same page. Which he is the only new coach that we have among boys and girls basketball teams in the area this year. So, but we'll see. I guess we'll look maybe midway point through the season.
Yeah, because whenever you bring in a new coach, there's always going to be adjustments that have to be made. And I can't imagine Dave's the kind of coach that's going to come in and say, "Well, just do what you were doing before."
Yeah,
he's going to put his own stamp on the team, and